I mean, if you have to think about it, this is the true essence of this entire.
I just feel like we're burying the lead that the most important story is that my Pixel Fold finally got the next Android beta. That's really all people care about this
It
whole
is.
last week, right?
Yeah.
That's the hot.
It's
Am I
does
wrong?
Does it
I feel
fold
like
better
that's...
though? Is it a better Pixel Fold? My Pixel
Oh,
8
yeah, it
Pro,
is.
I had some challenges,
It's
dude. The
newer.
Pixel 8 Pro, editing on CapCut with the Pixel 8 Pro, not only did it
A little
warm
bit,
up,
right?
it stuttered. Okay, it stuttered in
Ooh.
playback, and that's like,
No, it doesn't do that in LumaFusion. I'm just saying, maybe
It
it's time
doesn't
that
do
you
it in
forked out
CapCut
for...
on my Pixel 8 Pro.
I
Oh,
don't like.
snap!
Okay, that's it.
Oh, she went and did it. Ah! Hey, everybody, welcome to a tech podcast where two old guys bring on a friend to talk about some exciting news over the last week. One, Ms. Trisha Hershberger, my sister from another mister, who
Yes.
was out on the show floor doing awesome stuff and catching all of the fun new tech with my buddy TK Bay, as I was here editing like crazy on projects that paid my mortgage. Wah, wah.
Way to
Let's
lay
hear
it
it for
thick.
paying your mortgage.
Yes.
Woo woo! Adulting.
Adulting is fun. Dude, honestly, it was a pleasure. I'll say this: Trisha and I got a chance to hang out. We hit up. Obviously, we went to all the same spot for the most part, but it was like, it's crazy, man. This year is really busy. Like I feel like it's pre-pandemic years. This is pretty much how it felt for me. I don't know how it felt for you, Trish, but like going places, going to events, going to talking to people. It's just so much was going on. I was late to everything. Like there was nothing that I was on time for, and it just felt like so bad. I kept apologizing the whole time. I was like, sorry.
Because it took forever to get anywhere. Like you said,
Mhm.
it's like pre-pandemic levels. And I definitely overbooked myself in an effort to try to do and see too many things. And I was either late to every appointment or I was sending emails apologizing that I just wouldn't be able to make my appointment because I was like, if I'm at Venetian and the suite that I was supposed to go to is at Caesars, but in 2.5 hours, I'm supposed to be back at the convention center, traffic would not allow me to get from point A to point B to point C. So I would just cut out point B and apologize. It was so sad.
I've done that, a couple of those, and yesterday I actually made the stupid dash. Well, not stupid, but like a really fast dash from the convention center, actually the Renaissance right next to the convention center, to the Sands because I had made a commitment that I totally spaced on Tuesday. So I had to meet them yesterday. Otherwise, I would have totally missed my commitment entirely. I needed a TK 2.0, with me and somebody while following me in editing. I just needed that level of professionalism, and hopefully next year maybe.
TK, every year I say that I'm going to do that next year, and then I don't. Every year I'm like, next year I'm going to bring an assistant who's going to follow me around and help me make content. That never happens. Although this year I did have someone off-site helping me with content, and it was massive.
That's so nice.
It was massive because she has the bandwidth. Like she's not dealing with CES internet, which is slow as molasses.
Yeah.
And so she can upload things. Like I had a sponsored long form YouTube video go up today, and there's no way I would have been able to upload it.
But wait a minute, we all have the 5G now.
Ha 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 ha.
What? You couldn't get good
it was the
video
5 baby
uploaded
G.
Oh,
on the
It was a baby G. Very emphasis on the baby G on this one. I will say this: if you've ever wanted to see full bar smartphones crawl at anything on the internet,
I believe it.
Put the amount of people that we had in a room and try to get anybody to do any kind of internet thing, and then the convention center. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, Trish. They had a $79 internet connection fee at the convention center. You couldn't get Wi-Fi. Yeah, like it was crazy.
I bet it was awful. I bet even if you paid $79, I bet it was just
absolutely. It would be probably even worse.
Angry.
Well, and I say this because I guested on Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt, and he had a full broadcast suite, meaning he had like a hardwired internet connection, and we still had multiple stutters and freezes.
I totally buy it.
And so I bet even if you bought the $79 Wi-Fi, it would not have been what you were hoping for. Because I have this dream that someday I'm going to go to CES with an IRL backpack like solution and just live stream my whole day. And then all my content will just be cut up from my live stream VOD. Like this is my future of how I really want to cover
Love
CES. But I would need to figure out the gosh darn upload bandwidth. And
It's
I
simple.
don't
It's simple. You
know
just have to get
ever
something to
happened.
jam everybody else's connection, so everybody else
That's-
shuts down.
That's the big
Then
problem.
the internet will work. Like the backpack
Yeah.
should have a secondary
'Cause
side where it's a jammer on one
every
end
time,
and a
every time
podcast
we
from the other.
improve, it's like
Yeah.
everyone else is improved too. So our demands on what we're uploading. Think about what you can do just run and gun from a phone, getting that data up. The video quality and the bit rates that we're all sort of expecting, even for just basic 1080p video, so much heavier than where we were even like 3 years ago. And everyone is doing that. Everyone's hitting it that much harder. It used to be I could do just like a photo reel. Now I need to put together a short. Well, a short is like 30 photo reels a second for 60 seconds. And it's not cool enough if I just post a photo of the cool thing that I do. And everyone is trying to accomplish the same thing. I feel like trade shows are going to get worse and worse for that kind of, sort of Johnny on the spot.
Yep.
Sort of production value.
They're
Until we
not
figure out
prepared.
a ton more backhaul.
Well, and Juan, think about this too. I was talking to a creator in one of the suites today, and we were just kind of laughing about the fact that every creator has a DJI Osmo Pocket this year. Like no one's even using their phones. No one's using mirrorless
Right.
on a Gorilla Pod.
I had my phones, but I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
the
you
Osmo
got
Pocket
a little.
3,
Yeah, you have one
the
too.
Osmo Pocket 3 is crazy good. Seriously, Juan, there is nothing
I'm sure it is.
like
I'm
sorry,
dying on the phone hill. I am the phone guy.
Well, but
I-
listen, but Juan, to your point about we're all having so many more connectivity issues, everyone that's using that Osmo Pocket, whether it's the 2 or the 3, has a clip-on lav mic, so you're dealing with that. And this creator was telling me that some people were actually having like their mic connect to somebody else's Osmo.
yeah.
There's so many of them around.
That's the parents without
and
having a guest.
that was happening. But then
Yeah, yeah.
people are taking their Osmo Pocket and sending it to their phone so that they can upload from their phone there on the spot. So how much more data are we even
Yep.
on the show
And-
floor?
And if you have traditional, like older Rode style mics, then you've got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, basically tripling the amount of noise in the air. So your older, if you have a 2.4 gig mic, your older mics are just getting slaughtered. It is nothing but interference for what's happening on all of those. There's just so much radiation coming from every personal area network. It's hilarious. And it's a good argument for an old cranky geek like me to say, hey, if you plug in a cable, that
Cables? What do you
eliminates
mean,
a lot
cables?
of those problems.
It was definitely a challenge. I'll say that. Connectivity, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, just mind connectivity. Everything was getting
For sure.
interference from everywhere. And I think for me, the biggest problem, you're right. You need to transfer that data, and that's what kind of bogged me down in getting content out, and why I'm starting to put things out now, because I've had to go back so many times to outside of the show floor just to transfer the content.
Yeah.
And then some of my challenges primarily is because I'm shooting everything at 4K 60. I'm actually debating it. Maybe I should want to start dropping it down to 1080 60 when I'm working events. Yeah,
Well,
I'm like,
I mean, back in the day, I was running that LG V30 rig, and even I couldn't, being like the nerd kind of trying to do the backpack IRL live stream before it was cool thing, I couldn't. So I would shoot everything in 4K, but then dump everything down to 1080p before I would upload
so
it.
that was my challenge on my side,
Yeah.
and because I had to run Handbrake to try to convert everything to 1080, that takes time, and that doesn't run on anything but a PC, and it's So
But
long story.
transcoding in LumaFusion's really good.
But most of my content wasn't on like the stuff on the DJI, or even when I was using so one of my videos was legit on an actual DSLR because I needed to shoot it in that. I need it to
Sure.
look professional with the brand. And it's weird.
Of course.
Paid
Oh,
jobs, it's hard. Yeah.
I shot on a nice camera for my one branded long
Yeah.
form.
So I felt like all of the other ones I did all the B-roll for that video on the Vivo on the X100 Pro, but the A-roll and doing like kind of the talking head and everything, I did shoot it on my nice Sony. So the long story is part of that is getting everything organized correctly. And then there's a couple of clips I did at Lenovo. I shot a reel and all that. But again, you have to transfer that to your phone, spend the time to sit somewhere where you're able to edit when able to not being rushed from one place to the other. So this is just, I need I do have an editor. It just, mine is a 4K to 1080 issue, which so long story short, learning lessons. We'll try. I'm hoping I'll be better by MWC.
And I really do feel, in like listening to both of your experiences on this sounds like just the new now of going to these trade shows. We're all getting back up to speed on what do we do at a trade show. What does a trade show actually represent? What is it trying to accomplish? And while we understand that we're just kind of getting our sea legs back, it's coming with all of these new data challenges. So what is the point of going to a trade show if you can't get your stuff out of the trade show? Is also something that, like, CES is going to have to address, what MWC is going to have to address. It can't just be on us to figure out solutions. And it can't be like the old days. Like back when I was at Pocket Now, we would sometimes have to drive someone off strip just to find data that we could like actually get our content posted to. That sort of kills the point of us all being there to tell these stories and to share in these moments, in these events. It's great that we're there. If we can't show anybody that we were there, then we weren't there.
we lose the magic of the show if we're not able to do it IRL. It's hard. And that's why primarily for me, my coverage is coming basically day 3 of the event.
But that's why I am almost violently angry that they had like a special premiere data connection rate. Like you pack a press room with the best lines that you can because you want people to get their content out to promote what's going down at the show. You don't squeeze the storytellers and the content creators to say, well, sure would be a shame if no one saw your TikToks there, buddy. Was there something we could do about that? Money.
Everything costs more. It was more of a inflation finally hit Vegas, and everything is now more and more and more money. Yeah. So no, I'm again, learning experience. Definitely hope we'll do better next year. We'll prepare better. But let's talk some of the cool things that we got a chance to see. And I'll start first and foremost and say, we got to see some interesting stuff. Okay, there's some really interesting stuff. If you really want to see some of the really cool things, because I think Trish kind of covered a lot more things. That some of the spontaneous stuff we saw, like I think was it even it unveiled the first night when we first got there on Sunday, and like stuff like like ice cream. Okay, and I'm going to say this. I didn't try the ice cream machine, but I'll let Trish give us a little bit. Her impressions of, because I'm not an ice cream person. So yeah, this is I would go to the.
There it is. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, right there.
Oh yeah. So I was told that here's ice cream in a can. You don't have to refrigerate. Yeah. And you put it in this machine a la like a Keurig pod.
And it's basically like a container, like a bottle. Yeah.
It's like the size of a Red Bull. Yeah. And it freezes it and dispenses soft serve right there on the spot. And it was actually delicious. It was very good. It tasted like boardwalk soft serve was the best way I could describe it.
So is this like, I didn't know if they explained like what it was, but because there was a place, I don't even know if it's there, pre-pandemic on Ventura Boulevard that was like this nitrogen shot, like chemistry science house that they served ice cream. And I think their hook was, we're actually like making it when you order it. Is that kind of what they were describing? It's like these raw materials get shot through these fancy chemicals.
Yeah, it was some kind of like it freeze dries or something like that in under 2 minutes and then dispenses your ice cream.
Because the pods are shelf stable too. So you didn't have to freeze the pods. The pods could be just sitting in a box.
Oh yeah, they can just sit in your pantry. They said 6-month shelf life. and the cans are recyclable.
Yeah.
So
nice.
yeah, so if
That's way
you
better,
really
yeah.
like ice cream, or maybe you buy ice cream and then it gets freezer burnt in your freezer or something like that, like you don't have to worry about that anymore with this machine. Now, granted, they were talking about this machine predominantly going out to other businesses for the moment.
Yeah.
But
of
then,
course.
like roller skating rinks and stuff like that.
For sure. Because you've noticed Dippin' Dots are no longer the ice cream of the future. They're the
Dang it.
ice cream of the past.
Don't tell my son that. He loves Dippin' Dots. We don't
No, I'm not saying Dippin' Dots are
badmouth
bad.
Dippin' Dots in this house,
but-
Juan Carlos Bagnell.
But have you
Oh.
noticed they do not advertise that they are
No.
the ice cream of the future anymore?
That is
Oh, I
true.
guess that's
That is
true.
not a part of their tagline. No, actually, I mean that's one of the things that makes me really excited about sort of the this single shot idea. Because I've never gotten a Keurig because I hate the idea of all those little plastic cups when I actually really enjoy putting together a nice cup of coffee. Something like this makes a lot more sense to me because I'm not going to be burning through a bunch of these individual ice cream pods. It's just a nice little treat for when I want it. And then with a can, it is going to be a lot easier to recycle than those disposable plastics.
The one negative I will say for it is it's pretty large. So like, when we talk about the 50 million kitchen appliances you can have,
For sure.
I don't know about you, my kitchen's small. I can't take up that much room for a fun ice cream machine.
For sure. It kind of helps though because it does because it looks like a Mr. Fusion on the back of a DeLorean, right? The way they stick the can in there, it looks
bananas
just like
and all of that peels and that. Yeah, exactly.
But I will say that looks like it's roughly the same size. My mom had an ice cream maker, one of those little electronic ice cream makers. It doesn't look like it's bigger than that as a standalone appliance, but as compared to just going out and occasionally buying a pint of ice cream, that would take up a lot of space in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you'd have to be an avid ice cream connoisseur to be able to have that much ice cream as much as what, so yeah, you're right. It real estate wise, it makes more sense for business right now. Maybe they'll have smaller versions for it for home use at some point, but still, it was we kicked it off on the right foot. Let's say that.
I just want to know what they put in there to make it freeze. Like after 6 months, do you have to go get like Freon? Like your air conditioner needs to be.
It's dipping dots inside of a condensed can that just basically gets squeezed into a soft serve.
I would just like to point out, because this has been a topic over the last year that I have had a ton of fun covering. It does seem like you spent a lot of time putting different glasses on your face.
So many glasses.
There was a lot of glasses to cover.
There were lots of glasses. I got photos from many friends. Hey Juan, I'm putting glasses on my face. And I very much enjoyed that flavor of CES. As much as Apple was trying to steal everyone's thunder with their Vision Pro announcement, a lot of news still made it through. Trisha, because like you've got a couple here, and if there's one that you want me to highlight, or if there's something that you got to play with that you thought like, oh, something like this has legs. What were some of your glasses experiences like on the show floor?
I mean, I got to try out 2 extended reality glasses from TCL. And those were great, but I feel like, they're tech that we've seen before in terms of like AR glasses that overlays and gives you real-time translation when you're traveling internationally, or overlays directions, and like, oh, that's very cool. And it's neat to see it working. Or glasses that are going to take your Switch gameplay and project it on a large display in front of you so you don't have to creak your neck down, like all that kind of stuff. Like that's cool. But TK and I were actually together when we saw these glasses that look like something out of Star Trek.
It does.
And there's these little, inside, there's these little like lenses that you have to move side to side to match with your pupils. So it looks hilarious when I'm wearing it here.
Oh, that looks freaky.
I know. No, dude,
it looks like pupils in the frame.
It's even freakier when you're standing and talking to her, because all I kept looking was like, is that the iris? I tried it after her, but
it's worse when you do the little slight punch in, and it's even a bit more of a close up on your face.
Yeah.
Okay, so Okay, I'm sorry.
This definitely
I
needs a
didn't actually
darker
get a chance
shade.
to watch
No, no,
this
no. They
one. This is
definitely need a darker
Wild
shading in front of it. I think for the
Wild
product.
Vixian. Is that what?
I
I
think
haven't seen this video.
I said Vixian, but I think after talking to other people, they actually pronounce it Vision.
Oh,
Okay, fair.
But
Like
it's spelled Vixion. But anyway,
Vixian, something like that.
yeah.
So explain to me. So we've got these like circular lens pieces, and then what is it doing for your vision on the other side
the
of these?
glasses will examine what you're looking at and adjust the thickness of the lens so that you don't need glasses or bifocals and now it's not made, they said it's not made for like everyday use. It's made to like read something small, like it'll just adjust to help you. They call them auto focusing glasses. So whatever you're focusing on, it will adjust so that you don't need to wear regular glasses.
And it adjusts to you as you get basically you didn't have to get glasses as time goes on. It keeps adjusting to you.
No, that's kind of cool. That it sounds a little like when companies were trying to make hearables and they were using noise reduction technology, but more to help you have better conversations in noisier spaces. So this is more a practical lifestyle vision aid than like a fancy tech overlay AR kind of solution.
Totally. So they were saying like, if you're someone who like does model Gundams or something like that, or you have to read something small, that's what these are for. And they'll focus on whatever you're focusing on to give you that clear vision, whether it's near or far.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is more like human augmentation tech. That's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Although both TK and I had a hard time getting it to work for us.
They were having other people demo it and they were having better success. But as soon as she was done with recording the clip, I borrowed hers and I put it on and I was like, okay, I understand. So I adjusted it and I was able to see through it, but I didn't get the full effect. But yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll be able to one day when it's available, make it, very simple and easy. You put it on, you adjust for your vision, where your eye placements are, and it just works. So yeah.
Do you feel like that is a concept for both of you? Do you feel like that is a concept is something that could exist as its own product, or do you think this is a company that gets absorbed in some other portfolio of tech where, like for me, it's like I've got really fancy binoculars, and now these really fancy binoculars add in this kind of eyeball tracking, focus, zoom effect. And now you've got a rangefinder and something that can be used for close focusing. And now it sort of expands on something that we already know. To me, this almost sounds like it would be a better fit for an add-on to another product that we already use. Like these are the glasses I keep in my pocket just for when I want magnified vision. Single serving kitchen appliances. This is single serving glasses appliances.
But
if you add this to something else.
There was a lot of tech at the show this year that was, in my opinion, hoping to get absorbed by a larger company more so than trying to make their own product.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, a good chunk of CES is like, what's the, I can't remember the name, the whole zone of CES where
Eureka
it's just
Park.
all the little Eureka Park. I can never remember Eureka Park. Eureka Park always used to be just the place where, okay, this will never exist on its own, but I could totally see this getting built into my next car. Now I feel like some of that Eureka Park tech is making its way out to the main show floor in some really interesting ways.
And there was a lot of stuff. This was actually just day one. This is day one, first, I would like to say conference, but the first event that we were able to basically join before.
It was the first night. It was Sunday night.
Yeah, that was even before Media Day, which technically the show started like a day and a half later. But yeah, no, there was a lot of cool things. There was like a plant that would help, reduce the pollution inside, help basically improve the air quality in the home.
The magic house plant? Is that
That's what I called it. I wanted to make it really accessible for people.
It's not the edible one. Yeah, this is definitely
It's magic. It's tech magic. Yeah, it's bioengineered to purify indoor air 30 times faster than a regular houseplant. So if you put one of these in your house, it's like adding 30 plants to your house, but with
And it
That's
uses
cool, though.
special food and special nutrients to help it basically be productive and as efficient as they're trying to make it. But yeah, no, it really looked like we were passing by and all we saw was like plants. And I'm like, wait, when did this turn into a green thumb kind of a, this is not a
And as
botany
you
type of an
as you
experience.
walked by, did you notice that like you were breathing easier and that
We were on cloud 9. Yeah, we were
the
floating the
the
amount.
terrible Vegas
Be
enclosed
for real,
air
it's
was
Vegas
suddenly
air. It's always bad.
Dude, yeah. No, yeah, no. Speaking of which, though, the gentleman that you and I were talking to, Trish, at this booth, I
Mhm.
met him the following day at PepCom because he was working with some augmented glasses laptop type of experience, running Android and X-Real glasses, which was
Yes.
also very, very nice. I saw that one as well. So it's a lot of cool things for me, but yeah, like
So I need to ask for both of your opinion because we've all done TCL stuff and we've all played with like the TCL sort of projector
yeah,
style glasses, but both of you got to play with the new Ray Neos that I have been watching in China. Like I have
the
been
X2s, yeah.
fighting not importing these from China because I want to see what the differences are in the global release. So, is this the next baby step towards practical AR? Do we have something that kind of replaces the Google Glass heads-up display? Are we getting closer?
So the
I
most recent video I put up is
yeah.
the X2. And I feel like if it didn't look like I was a little kid putting on my dad's glasses, maybe.
Oh my God, those are huge.
Exactly.
Now, granted, I'm hobbit sized, but look how massive they look on my face. I can't
So
wear
big
that out.
Trish, I will say maybe as part of a
Wow.
cosplay, it could kind of go out, but you're right. I didn't see you put them on. Oh my God,
Oh,
yeah.
because I just demoed these yesterday at I went to
Oh, you went
TCL's
to the
booth.
booth. Yeah, yeah. You went to see yeah. Okay.
And I got like a little private demo, which was awesome. And so I really did get to see all the features up close and personal and go through them one at a time. And that was neat.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the whole like, when's Google Glass finally going to catch on? And I'm like, when they
Yeah.
can make them look like normal fashion
Yeah.
wear.
They need
And we're
to.
not
'Cause
there
those
yet.
those look even bigger on your face
Yes,
than
I'm
even
just
like the
tiny.
projector
They
style.
look
No, but like because you also did the regular TCLs, the regular Ray Neo Airs,
Mhm.
and
There's
they
the
didn't
X2
look
Air, and then there's the X2.
dramatically oversized for your head. They look a little funky. You can tell something's up with them, but they look just like kind of oversized sunglasses. These look comically like you like you took Mr. Potato Head glasses and then you put them on a Mr. Potato Head mini.
It does. That's what my comment, the one comment that made me laugh so hard was like, why do you look like a little kid putting on your dad's glasses? And I was like, 100% accurate. Yes. That's
Yes,
exactly what it
completely.
looks
So that's just part of the problem is like I've been reluctant to import the Chinese variation of this. It's already for sale out in China.
It is, yeah.
Because you have no idea looking at the pictures on AliExpress. That's all. Those are all lies.
Yeah, no, that's the
Like,
scale
they're
of
all bad
they're
photoshops.
very, yeah. No,
They
for
do
sure.
not look like that at all when you try and shop them on an import site. So yeah, that is much more dramatically large. Okay, so fashion notwithstanding, and I know that's a biggie. If you put something on your face, you have to be able to wear it around. So I'm not trying to minimize that, but the tech that you were able to demo,
Yeah.
is there something practical there? Because I don't want, like Terminator vision with all kinds of graphics and movement and fancy stuff. What I want is like what we had with Google Glass. I want, there's a notification on my phone and I don't even have to look down at my watch to get relevant information. I can kind of clear this stuff in a field of view where I'm not having to constantly break from reality around me. Are they at least trying to approach that kind of organic information delivery?
So I'll take a little bit on that. So one thing between the two of us, I'll say this: I got to spend a little bit more time with the X2s because after I think you guys were done, Trish, I actually got to take the X2s out and I was walking around Vegas with them. So
Oh, I'm
I
so
actually
jealous.
experienced life tracking, mapping, all of that stuff outside because the internet at the show, as we kind of mentioned at the beginning of this show, royally sucks. So everything
Sure.
and anything we were trying to do, even when I was trying to tether it, it didn't. But the this is very much similar to the way glass gives you that experience, with the exception of your field of view is much bigger. It's not just sitting at the top right, and you kind of have to look up to look at it. It's in the center. It actually, depending on what you're doing, it'll sit at different parts. What I really liked about it when I did the navigation, because I was like, hey, I'm going to go back to my hotel because I need to edit some stuff. I said, navigate to the Flamingo Hotel. It brought up 3 different addresses because there's different POIs for Flamingo. I picked the first one, and then everything kind of went away, and I had a little bit of a circular navigation arrow sitting on the bottom right of my vision. And as I'm walking, I don't have to look at it. I always can see the direction of it. If I'm going the wrong direction, it tells me that it's turning red. As I turn green, this is the right direction I need to go. And it tracked. It was pulling internet from. This is the weird thing. It was pulling from the phone that they let me borrow with it because they only had it paired with their own phones. And then it was tethered to my Pixel because I was obviously hotspotting it. That was the only way to do it. And it worked. So that actually absolutely works. Picture taking, video taking absolutely works. Not a lot of the applications were installed, so we didn't get a chance to test that out. The notifications weren't being pushed. But the translation is where it goes, oh my God. Live translation, you're talking to somebody, and it initially, if the internet wasn't having an issue, it would start basically transcribing their words from. They had it set up for Chinese to English, and I had the gentleman before I left. I had him record a sentence, like a nice like a chunk of sentence there in Mandarin, so that I can actually play it back on what's it called for the recorder, because I had to leave and I wasn't having him come with me. So it was like, hold on.
You just drag him back to your hotel room.
No,
Okay, now talk Chinese to me so I can translate in my eyeball.
I had it. Seriously, we were like at the convention center. Like, please give me a sentence in Mandarin because I don't have a Mandarin speaking friend here. So long story short, it's exciting. Is it perfect? It needs a little bit of work.
It obviously needs a lot of work, and it
yeah,
needs another generation of miniaturization. I feel like that is absolutely some fair criticism for what's
it's moving in the right direction. Here. I'll say this: so as we're looking at the picture here with Trish, so what you don't see, because obviously she has a lot more hair than I do. Go figure. There are the 2 nubs on the back of it. Everybody has more hair than me. I mean, it comes.
Now me, you and me, buddy, we're bald by choice.
We're renaming the podcast. That's it.
Bald by choice.
The bald by choice.
The name of our band.
Forget the
anyone
best.
who joins our band has to choose
the battery and the circuitry
bald.
are all sitting in the back in those big nubs, and the nubs on the back, so you don't have any more heat issues the way we had them with their earlier generation.
That's
where
cool.
The PCB was sitting like center part of your forehead,
right on your eyebrows.
So, I'll say this: it's impressive to see how this evolution and evolutionary version of it came from the generation I saw a year ago to 2 years ago, because we've been following them for some time. I could definitely say that, yes, this is going to be exciting. They need to, again, some work needs to be done. Battery life is still kind of short. I think they rated it about 4 hours with full charge, but I didn't really get even close to that.
Because I was a huge nerd for the Focals by North, and that was a projector system, and that was a really
they have a controller, just
they
like
have a ring.
They have a ring.
I love that too.
Yeah.
So the Focals by North in constant operation, I don't think they got much better than 4 hours. But the whole point was you're not constantly using it.
Absolutely.
It's like the glance that you take down at your smartwatch has now just moved up to eye level. One of the things that kind of surprises me, and I hope that this is something they address, knowing that the actual field of view is so much smaller than the whole surrounding frame. Even if you kept the frames chunky, if you could just reduce the lens size, would be a huge first step into making these better daily wearable accessories. Because that to me is what makes that look so funny on your face, Trish, is how much extra glass they have in those lenses that I don't think they completely need for the way that they do the image generation in the
Yeah.
lens.
Well, you can see as I turn my head side to side, you can see where the rectangle is in the center of the frame where I'm able to see things. So yeah, you're right. There's a ton of extra glass around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even if the frames were still kind of chunky, they would look like my aunt used to call. She was Air Force, and they would have like standard issue glasses, and they would call them BCs because they were birth control glasses because they were such ugly frames. So yeah, we would still have a bit of that problem with the frames being so chunky, but I think they would look like they would look like they would fit your face better if you could minimize that lens size.
Well, and honestly, one of the things I was really excited about when I tested these is I was like, okay, for my dream of covering CES someday as like an IRL stream, how nice would it be to just be able to do it from a pair of glasses instead of like walking around with a walking stick with a camera on it or like something strapped to the front of my body. But just to have it in your glasses would be so awesome.
Well, and have you played? I don't know if how much you've played with some of the projector glasses, but one of my favorite things about reviewing them is that while I'm wearing them to shoot the video of me talking about the glasses, I just put the script up in the glasses. So I'm running teleprompter in the glasses to talk about the glasses while I'm, pointing
Recording
my
the
face
glasses.
towards my camera.
That's hilarious.
And if you could do a walk and talk and have like notes or just a legit teleprompter running as you're doing that, and then you could shoot your POV video at the same time. I know we're not there yet. I know these probably won't ever get us to that kind of synergy, but we're so close. I can taste it. We're so much closer to this being like
this
so
is
much more
legit. You
accessible.
could use these, go out, navigate to a spot, and come back with them. You can take pictures. I mean, they are functional. They're not perfect. They're not ready yet, but I think it's functional. And it's crazy how much they were able to improve them over the last couple of generations of it. It is, and it's amazing. So that's what
last
excited
question,
me.
And we can move on. I had to dig in because both of you got to play with these. I had to dig in just a little bit. Any word on frame covers or sunglasses attachments? Like, is there anything that
they have inserts for the prescriptions? So they're doing them the same way they did the TCL. So they're little,
but not
bridge
like
inserts.
Not like a shield where you can use them as sunglasses during the day.
They didn't. I didn't. I don't know if you did,
that.
Trish. Yeah, I didn't ask at the time. Although I'll say that would have been something I appreciated when I was outside, because once you get the sunlight,
I feel like maybe TCL didn't have those, but other XR glasses that were at the show did. There was a lot of that. TK saw like, here's tech you've seen before, but we added something aesthetic that you can add on. We did see a lot of that.
Yep, it was quite a few. It's quite a few, and the one thing I will also say is you do have the ability of increasing the brightness of the displays inside. So if they are definitely viewable in direct sunlight. That was surprising.
Oh yeah, I just can't go outside without sunglasses these days because I'm such a troll in my little
with your script running in your sunglasses. I get it.
You get used to a teleprompter. It becomes a crutch, but you gotta read the words that you put on the page in front of you there. So.
I'm with you. But yeah, no, definitely TCL or Rayneos are definitely, they're really putting in some really good effort and really good work in there. And what I really got excited too was I got a chance to talk to them, and they got me a. Do you remember when we were playing with the Rayneos? They talked about the Joy-Con, not the Joy Dock, right?
The Joy Dock. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. So I now have a Joy Dock. So
that's good.
Yes. So I'm gonna work on the video on that hopefully for next week to kind of like a follow on to it. But yeah, dude, that was like the one thing out of that entire package. I was like, why didn't you send it to us? Like it wasn't ready at the time. And it is so slick, man. It's nice. It has a clip to mount on the back of the Switch, and it's ready to go. So I got it, and I'm still unpacking because like I literally got back home today. So it's crazy, but yeah, very exciting stuff from TCL, and of course all their TVs, then some really nice gaming monitors, and so on, and way more stuff that we never get in the US, but it was definitely at their booth.
They released like 20 phones and 5 tablets and stuff, and you're like, I'd like you to maybe consider a next paper here. I've been asking to try one
That
for a
Next
long
Paper
time.
14 tablet looked really nice.
It's sharp.
It's such an interest.
It is sharp.
From doing like the back at Pocket now again. We were doing those like videos talking to psychologists about like a gadget addiction and stuff, and all of the psychology that goes into bright, vibrant screen that your brain likes to look at, and just how calming the effect is of looking at like a Next Paper display. I really want to spend some more time with one that looks really good.
It was absolutely fantastic. The devices that they had. There's quite a few Next Paper displays on the phones, and even as Trish was talking about the tablet, it has a physical switch to switch between Next Paper, and the UI just switches from one to the other. But it's a large premium tablet. We're talking like seriously, no corners cut. Everything really trying to emphasize the best that they can offer, and it shines. It definitely shines. It's really good. But yeah, no, there was, I mean, I'm sure there was obviously a lot more things at TCL, but the other thing I'll probably say, I got a chance to go to Lenovo and I got a chance to check out some of their upcoming things as far as tech. But one of the things that I really enjoyed was when Lenovo decided to basically bring something kind of like the Moto mods we had for the back in the day with the Z Force. And they brought those. They have a couple lines of their laptops that had them, and this is just second generation concepts. But we're talking about attachments of basically attaching on the top of your laptop. You can attach a high-end camera. You can even attach an entire display. Like, this is crazy, the level that they were able to put that in there. I pushed it up on my on Instagram. I didn't push that out on my YouTube, but there's a fun nostalgic feel to it, but it's from a functional standpoint, it is absolutely amazing.
Did you get to check this one out, Trish? Because I caught TK's thing, and then
I didn't make it to Lenovo's booth this year.
Yeah, and they weren't even at the show. They were out. They were at the Win.
Without getting to play with like the magnetic attachment system, how much I like the anti-notch design. Because it's like
it's on the top.
Yeah, so you've got your screen. Unlike a MacBook, you don't have something cutting into the screen. You have this little lip that comes up on top of it. If you wanted, you could put a regular webcam in there, but then it's the magnetic base that gives you the ability to attach other products and webcams and displays and stuff. So I'm all for this. I love just the aesthetic of it, not
so they had a ring light
my display for
even just to illuminate you. But the really cool thing, they had aromatherapy for it. They had a box where you'd be able to put it was a concept. Again, this is some of these attachments are concepts.
I'm not jumping on this until I get an air purifying house plant to magnetically stick.
You know what? Maybe that's the integration, man.
Lenovo and Neoplants.
Exactly.
Done. Lenovo Neo. I mean Lenovo Neo. It's got a really delightful alliterative quality to it that I feel like they're missing out.
The Neolovo. We'll just go with
Neolovo.
Neolovo.
It's good.
It was crazy. They had a couple of things that were also going there. There's another video going up tomorrow morning on their Android and Windows tablet PC combo.
Yeah,
that is. I like all I can say is if you remember back in the day when Asus used to have the Transformer tablet, where you used to be able to basically have a clamshell, you open it up, you take the tablet off, but that obviously was Android all around. They have this concept going on where the base, the keyboard part of the tablet or the laptop is essentially an i7 running laptop, Windows 11 running laptop. All the pieces and everything that you need there, from the RAM, GPU, everything is in there. And then there is the tablet, which essentially is running Android 13, that docks as a monitor to it. And you're able to jump between Windows and Android whenever you want. And if you're connected to a display, let's say a computer monitor or whatever, you can detach the Android tablet, keep it running Android, and Windows is still connected to the monitor. Suddenly you have two PCs in one. Like that, just wow. That if there is one award I would give this year at CES, it was there, because that came out of nowhere for me, and I want it. I don't care if it's 2000. I want it. It's just going to happen. It's coming out, and it's actually not a concept. It is coming out in another couple of months.
That's cool. Well, and that's the nice thing too, is like I feel like Lenovo is not too precious with actually putting out concepts. Like They've got some moonshot stuff that is like crazy R&D, like we'll never see the light of day. But they're
Snubs got a
pretty
chance to
good
check out
at-
some of their stuff too. Their tech gear that they had
Yeah.
in there. The steampunk.
Oh, she
panel
was
looking
having
at
a
it.
blast. I was like cyber stalking her like crazy on Threads, just like,
Yeah.
oh, she's having fun. This is neat.
Yeah.
Trisha, did you catch any fun laptop stuff? Because I gotta say, I've been really anxious about the laptop conversation, knowing we're gonna get some more Windows on ARM gear. We're seeing sort of refreshes from Intel and AMD. It's so early in the year. I think a lot of companies are trying not to like completely blow all of their announcements for what's going to be coming later in the year. Did you see anything though that you were really feeling?
The biggest laptop announcements I saw were like, hey, you can get a 14th Gen i9 and a laptop now. Yay. And like everyone announcing, you know, their new stuff. But the biggest thing for me actually wasn't in the laptop space. It was in the desktop space.
Oh,
okay.
So like TK, you said, you know, if you had to give your one award of CES, for me, if I had to give my one award of CES, it would be to the hidden cable connector motherboards and that movement.
Oh,
I had not
God, they're
seen
so
them in
pretty.
person before this CES.
Mhm.
And seeing them in person, yes, Juan, that was my exact feeling. I'm obsessed. So whether it's Asus and they're calling them BTF, or it's MSI and it's Project Zero, or it's Gigabyte and it's Project Stealth, whatever you're calling them, when you're putting the connectors on the back of the motherboard,
as they should have been in the first
this
place.
is
But
the future. This is the future, not just for beautiful, sleek, clean-looking PCs, but everyone who has built a PC has cut a finger or more trying to get the dang cables around and at the right angle and like just can't get the pin in right. Yeah, so much frustration. And it looks cleaner. And if it can bring more people into the DIY PC fold, I'm here for it. So if anyone has not been up on this, you need a compatible case because you need the width in the back to do that.
Of course.
And then you need the hidden cable connector motherboard. And Asus even took it a step further, making proprietary GPUs that get the power from the motherboard. So you don't even need the GPU cable coming around the front there.
Oh my God. Okay. No way.
Yes, way.
Not having to.
I filmed it. That video will probably go up tomorrow because I filmed it today.
Yeah.
And just with all of the announcements on like, NVIDIA's super cards are coming out, but you'll still have to mess with like melting power connectors. And then Asus is like, hold my beer.
Yes. We're just going to get rid of power connectors.
Asus is like, connectors? What connectors?
Power connectors suck too. I do GPU swaps all the time. You know how hard those things are to get in and out? You always hurt yourself. And I'm like, dude, I have Hobbit-sized hands. I don't know how people with big hands do this if I have such a hard time.
So you'll appreciate this. I'm hopefully going to be able to get this video out soon. I was doing some work with Zotac. They're like, let's get you swapped out. And so I've got this cavernous server grade case. This thing is like from my knees to like my eyeballs. This thing is huge. One of the old school steel frame. No. This is what I keep under my desk. I run a stupid workstation, like server grade chassis under my desk. I don't care about pretty lights and showing it off. Even just like trying to get this 4070 into this case was that kind of a mess. So I can't wait to show people the video because it's exactly what you're talking about. I have all the room in the world and I still have the most miserable cable management to try and get airflow going through this thing. And the second I saw those motherboards, I was like, oh, I feel seen. They saw my struggle. I need this so bad.
I was reading about this kind of move from all the manufacturers leading up to CES. And so it was one of those, like, I'm sure the anticipation helped build my hype. But when I finally got to see one in person, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah,
I'll have to check out the video.
I can't even say like when you see like like pre-built machines and you're like, this should be put together with all the care and attention of someone building a computer at an enthusiast sort of price point. And then you still see like flappy dongle GPU cables sticking out the side of a car. And you're like, no, it ruins it's so ugly.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is that this also helps like, if you think about floating a motherboard in the middle of a case and you have that space on either side, just think about all the cool things we could do. I mean, literally, I just use a pun intended, all the cool things we can do with cooling and how we can move air around every part and component, and we can really kind of maximize in basically the same amount of space that we've already been using. Oh, let me make you big.
I don't know if this is going to show correctly, but this is not the GPU cable list. This is the rest of it. So this was at Corsair's suite that I saw today. But you can see the only cables really that you're taking a look at here is the GPU.
Yeah.
Everything else is on the back side of that motherboard.
That is
And
clean.
as soon as we can kind of work ASUS's concept to get rid of that one floppy cable, then the rest of it's just air and cooling.
Yep.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yep. And I asked ASUS, I said, do you see this being like right now? Yes, it's your proprietary design, but do you see this being something that other manufacturers may adopt and pick up in the future? And maybe this would be the future of GPUs.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they were like, ASUS would love to work with other manufacturers on that. And I'm like, I'm sure they would.
And for all the money that they can license our design, we are happy to work with other manufacturers on the future of.
But they also had, so you know how on a lot of motherboards now, instead of everyone trying to jam a screwdriver in there to get the GPU PCIe to release under your big fatty card. You know how a lot of the motherboards now have like a wing that sticks out further so you can easily release that. For their proprietary design, that wing is longer. And so you hit it and it releases both the power and the PCIe at the same time.
Oh, I love it.
I know.
You know what? That is actually something where I bet you they'll hold the patent on it for a while, and then it becomes a part of a PCIe standard. And
yeah, maybe
they get paid. I mean, whenever you talk about consortiums like the special interest groups like Bluetooth SIG and everything like that, the companies that contribute to those, they are still looking at patents and licensing deals, and they just try to work out something equitable. I would not be surprised if ASUS looks at this as like, well, we can sell this for a GPU motherboard combination purchase, or we can just make a little bit of money on every motherboard and GPU that's sold for the future of every high-end desktop system. Even if it's just that trickle currency, I feel like that's probably the better play. So I'm hoping that's something that just becomes adopted.
It has to.
It also saves you from GPU sync.
Yep.
Because you're not just connecting on one side, you're connecting on two sides. So, I mean, the cards are so big, you probably still want some kind of support for the front of the card, but at least it's helping the side-to-side balance if you're not vertical mounting.
Exactly. And it needs to be a standard, because God help us if we actually get into where every company does their own version of it, then you never be able to swap a GPU.
But I mean, at the end of this year, we're all just going to be using ARM SoCs, so big GPUs are basically extinct, right? Like, there's no point.
Hey, I technically covered the event using an ARM-based laptop, but that's. This is the weirdest thing. I've actually pushed the M1 Max on my MacBook Pro to its limit this year. I actually got to the point where it says you ran out of memory, and
that's good.
Yeah, that is.
So you should just add some more memory.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to bring the blowtorch and then the configuration this weekend. I'm going to add a new CPU, a new GPU, new RAM.
You just got to get
expand the battery.
Do a little soldering. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
No, I think it'll be one of those. But no, seriously, I think yes, if that would be also for me. If I had the chance to check those out, that would have been one of the top. Oh my God, these are we're waiting for this forever. But
that's my top of show for sure. And speaking of your Mac needing new memory and soldering RAM on, I did see a gaming M.2 2230 that I was real excited about because I was like, yes, let's expand the storage in my Asus ROG Ally. Thank you so much.
HP had actually, crazy enough, HP had a laptop.
It's pretty cool.
That almost looked like a one of those like ultralight notebooks. But it was actually a legit with a 4070 GPU built into it, an i7. I forgot the name of the model. I think it's like the Concept, their Concept gaming laptop. They had it at PepCom. It
Who
was
was
sitting
this?
right next to the Xreal at HP laptops. Hold on, I think I took a picture. I'm sure I took a picture. The question is, which phone did I take a picture with?
This is
Well,
what
I
happens when
feel
we can't upload our stuff yet. We're just showing
yeah.
phone pictures.
Well, because
That's
I
right.
think okay, now I have a lot
And
of
it used
cool
to be
stuff.
we could just share those photos, but now people all want video. Michael Peppertech coming in clutch. Don't worry about a cable to lose. Go cable free with ASUS.
I like it.
I like this.
That's an ad campaign there. So again, sitting on the sidelines, I don't know if you guys caught the news on MSI.
Which one?
But I was wondering if you had any thoughts on Claw coming out.
I didn't see it in person.
Okay.
I wanted to see it in person, but the design looks remarkably similar to everything else on the market.
Again, it looks a little ROG-y. I think the interesting thing is going to be to see, one, it's starting out at a pretty high price point. We're in the $600 to $700 territory to start.
Was that
Then
the
also
i5 or the i7? For the i5, right?
just to start with the i5.
Oh, the i5. Yeah, the base model. Exactly.
But that's also what's kind of interesting is seeing them go Intel, where we know like AMD has kind of typically been the performance per watt solution for these other players. What do you think? I feel like this is the beginning of a tipping point where gaming laptops are going to fulfill a broad niche of high demand computing, but gamers I think are increasingly going to be looking at some of these standalone portable experiences in the same way that we appreciate, a Switch has some compromises, but it's a really good platform. What other kinds of conversations did you guys see while you were out there at CES? Because I'm sure a lot of companies were trying to make some noise about mobility, portability, and then better power efficiency for gaming and high-end desktop.
It's desktop experiences for me. It's always a challenge because it's a desktop.
I don't
solution.
mean literally like a desktop on your desk. What I mean is like there's a PC in your hands that is playing the video games.
Unless
Intel is going to be crazy powerful, but it's also going to nuke your battery in like an hour. So
here's my thing. Like, I love my Asus ROG Ally. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not traveling with a portable monitor and a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse. And like, I'm not traveling with a setup to turn it into a workable PC in my hotel room when I'm traveling for work. So if you don't want to travel with two devices, your laptop and your gaming device, I do think there's still going to always be a market for gaming laptops just because you can get so much done that's not gaming and still play your games really well on your gaming laptop. Now, that being said, if you're like, this is not a work trip, this is a vacation trip, ROG Ally or any other PC handheld all day. So the PC handhelds can do the computing, but I think the pain point for me is then you have to bring everything else with your mobile setup, which isn't so fun.
To that point, we were flying back from Thanksgiving, and I'm sitting at the terminal in the Albuquerque Sunport. We're waiting for our Southwest plane to arrive, and down the aisle is a gentleman on an ROG Ally where he's got a smart card reader plugged into it, and he is not gaming on his ROG Ally. He was trying to do the work from his little mini Windows experience.
Did he have a keyboard? Because otherwise that would be miserable. I feel so sad for him.
It sucked so bad, but it was like it was like the embodiment of why, because I can. I have an ROG Ally. I probably did a requisition for it, so I have to justify to like one of the labs out here in New Mexico on government funds why I bought this thing. But it was smart card reader, security. It was like he was doing it from the Ally. He was like, I am not going to bring a laptop.
Even trying to access your Windows Bluetooth settings to hook up buds on that thing is a nightmare.
It's so awful. It's hilarious. I loved it so much.
It's one of those. It's exciting to see that they're moving forward in the opportunity to bring in Intel into the fold, and when we start seeing more improvements into it. But yeah, man, Steam Deck started a whole new genre, and it is something that I feel like can be turned into something else with the right accessories, but again, it depends on what you're using. Like Trish said, I have the Legion Go, I have the Steam Deck, and I can connect multiple things and I can make things work, but there's something to be said for a gaming laptop that could just knock everything out of the park. And
I think like one of the things I'm excited about is the nuance of a conversation about performance per watt.
yeah.
And it's something where I think we oversell some of the laptop side, where I worry that Intel and AMD have kind of let this become more of a portable desktop that really doesn't work the best it can when it's only running on its own battery. And so if we can kind of help some people, not everybody, but if we can help some people understand like, well, these compromises on a lower power device actually meet up with your needs better because you need to be running out in the field. Like I look at things like insurance adjusters, right? You need ultra low power document spreadsheets and data connectivity. You don't need a powerful laptop. You actually really do need something that's going to be a lot more power efficient so that you can be all day out in the field and not constantly charging as you go. And it's those little conversations that I actually think the handhelds help us demonstrate. Like, it's 720p gaming, often at like 30 frames per second. That's not exciting, but my Steam Deck is really good at doing this one specific thing poorer than a high-spec gaming laptop can do, but it's a bit more accessible for me to do it. So it's that kind of stuff that gets me a little kind of sparked. It's getting away from just this is the most powerful thing of this year, and every year it gets 10% more powerful. It's, does it really fit what you need it to do in these circumstances? And I don't know that we've had great examples of that. I don't think we did a couple years back.
The parallel in the gaming community to what you're talking about is the Xbox and PlayStation constantly touting ray tracing, how many teraflops, and then Nintendo comes out and is like, and you put the hat in a frog and you're a frog, and everyone goes crazy. Like, does it really matter that we have these super high specs when really what we're talking about is having a fun experience playing your games? And so I think that conversation has already been happening for years since the Switch came out, because we're like,
for sure.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is one of the best games ever. You know what? We don't care that it's like, lower resolution on our Switch. We don't care.
No, but don't you feel that there's been that kind of contingent, the loudest minority of the PC gamers that have held on to this idea that they've got, the PC master race jokes, like, of course your $6,000 gaming PC is going to outperform a Nintendo Switch in all of these graphics capabilities. But I feel like they've been given the megaphone, or they've been holding on to the megaphone, because we really haven't had the PC equivalent of showing you a more use-specific, lower power device that handles this one task and does it better, even though it's obviously compromised against your $10,000 HEDT system. That kind of conversation. I feel like Steam Deck and now ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion and this MSI Claw, $400 to $700 is not cheap, but it gets you gaming really well without having to spend twice as much on a desktop to do similar stuff. And it's not going to do other things nearly as well, but it can, I guess, if you're a government employee who has a smart card reader plugged into your ROG Ally.
That is next level. Smart card reader at an airport.
It was awesome. I even followed him to like the coffee shop, and he's just sitting there, and this thing is like hanging out of his Ally, and just like, that can't be good.
That sounds
But miserable. I'm so excited you're doing it.
I'm just glad he has a USB-C smart card reader, because I still have for my stuff at work. I still have my USB-A connected to my laptop.
It's so great.
It is. There's a lot of things. I'll say this: if there is one thing to be said, there's no shortage of amazing tech, new tech, concept tech, prototype tech that we got a chance to see and walk around, and so much you know, so much so we didn't even get a chance to check out. I'll say this much. I did. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no way to cover
No.
CES in the amount of time that the show goes. There is just no way. Even the 4 days that the show goes at, there's just no way. That's my personal opinion, and I will stand by it. I will die on that on that end.
I don't
Yeah,
think
oh,
anyone can
you're-
challenge you.
It's not. That's not even like a controversial opinion. You're just right. That's fact, TK.
It is.
But honestly, I also feel like that contributes to the problem we were all discussing earlier of, you go to these conferences and you always feel like you're missing stuff and you're trying to squeeze stuff in and you've got too many appointments. And
Always.
because unless you really fine tune, I'm only going to cover gaming handhelds this year. Like if you're covering multiple product segments, there is no way you as one person, I would argue there's not even any way a team of 10 or 15 people can cover the whole show. There's no way.
Yeah.
And we all try to. And I think that's why we all make
you go there, right? And you have your plan.
And I lose my voice. And like, we're all just.
No. But even with the best planning, Trish, we know that you're walking and you're bound to find that one thing of like, oh my God, this thing exists. How did I not know that this was a thing? Like, this is seriously, like, you walk down these halls. This is why the show is so successful, but it needs. I don't know if it needs, but yeah, you're right. We just need to be multiplied to maybe 20 or 30 of us, and each one of us covers a corner of the actual show floor and say, look, you're staying in quadrant 1 and you're not crossing to quadrant 2, and that's how you do it.
Just give up on like topics and just be like, literally the physical location that you are going to cover is this grid.
Because it's
and just talk about everything that
you got the Venetian floor 2.
So that's the other thing. Most people don't realize the Venetian has levels. Like, they go in, right? They go down straight to the sands, not realizing to the left of them, all the hallways where MSI and all the PC components are like demoing there. But then there's level 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, like you could go different places. I think last year Samsung had one of their conferences set on level 3, so you had to know where to go, and you just, if you get lost, like, God help you. Seriously, it's just crazy.
But then there's the random press suites at like Caesar, and then there's the whole convention. I was on the convention floor today at Aria. I don't even know Aria had a convention floor until I made that meeting. You're everywhere.
I got to Lenovo and I was so lost at the wind. I called them up and the guy was not happy with me. He's like, "Okay, dude, we're gonna have to start because you're running late, and we're gonna have to send we're gonna send Mark to pick you up." And I was seriously like waiting there, like, oh my God. And it's just crazy. It's just, there's so much stuff going on, even with the best planning. It's just, you just roll with and I think to a certain point, a lot of people expect and understand because it's just the norm. I'm sure they're even late to their own stuff, getting to where they need to get to.
But at least hearing both of your experiences here, it sounds like CES is kind of finding its footing again. That like what the show represents was, I felt it was in danger. As we were kind of coming out of the pandemic, like what similarly we just saw E3 is gone now, because you can craft so many platform specific experiences for companies to reach out directly to players. I was afraid that if CES didn't find a vibe, it eventually just becomes either an auto show or it crumbles, because like, why do you bring all of this press here to Vegas for this week if a Samsung can go out and have their own Unpacked event, and Apple does their own keynotes, and like, well, what are we all doing here? So at least it sounds like there is some kind of vibe that's happening with sort of bleeding edge technology and showing off prototypes and getting people primed for the year, that CES still serves a purpose.
Oh yeah. And there's just, again, there's so much more to come, more content, and I'm sure, as Trish said, there's a lot more stuff to come out tomorrow. I have a couple more, like I said, the video that I have for tomorrow morning coming up for the Lenovo PC, and I'm trying to figure out how to edit this down to 60-second video for the reel on the Rainio X2s, because it's just, there's just so much to be put in there. I don't know if I want to maybe do part 1, 2, and 3 at this point, because that may end up being the way I end up. I swear to God, because there's just, it's hard to condense it into bullet points, because because one of the things I tried to pitch to them is like, look, I'd like to be able to experience using them on the show floor, it's cool. It's everything. You're very much in a controlled environment. But I told him, I said, I want to see if I'm trying to go back to my hotel, can these glasses get me there? And they took me up on it. I actually didn't think he was. He's like, okay, we can make it happen. And I'm like, and so how? And it's like, okay, we're gonna give you the glasses. Here's the the phone, and then we'll try to meet up with you later on. It's like before we saw each other again that night, Trish, I think last night. I actually had to go meet the gentleman from TCL to try to give him his stuff back. I was like, I want to make sure he got his equipment and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's fun. A lot of friends, everybody's meeting up again. We're getting a chance to just kind of go in there. And honestly, Juan, we need to make a pack right now for next year.
Oh no.
We need to do it. You need to do at least one day. Okay. One day physically, not virtually, at CES.
I'll make you a deal that coming into next year, why don't I book for specifically a PepCom and a Showstoppers?
Okay, I'm good.
And then if I'm there for those, and I can just meet up with friends, because that's kind of what you do at PepCom and Showstoppers, is you eat mini slider cheeseburgers while you hang out with your friends.
Or you're me and you film like
donut ice cream
a dozen TikToks.
Right?
No, she's a mobile production.
Though. It's like
Trish
you get
is
so
an
much better
extremely
access.
efficient person. Like she is absolutely efficient. I was walking with her on Unveiled, okay, and it looked like we're just hanging out, right? I turn around, I turn back, and then suddenly the tripod goes straight to the ground. The camera comes up, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And then 2 seconds later, we walked up to the next one.
Oh, I know.
And
I've seen her in operation, man.
Yeah, but the next morning, all those things were coming up. I'm like, how did she do it?
I hired a man in the chair.
But I did like in my mind, I'm thinking
I've
all
got
night
a guy
long.
in the chair. It's actually a woman in the chair, but I've got a woman in the chair.
I'm thinking like Trisha's sitting there with a large vat of coffee sitting there. So like, wait, we're editing here.
Trisha's buddy Ned is cutting that video.
No, my friend Jen. Her name is Jen. She's based out of Chicago. But like we always joke around about guy in the chair from Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And you know what? I'll say this: if she is looking for more clients, I would love to, at least for covering events.
We've had some of these conversations. TK and I have been like, who do we use? Like,
I have two other content creator friends that have already started using her. I'm like, this poor girl is going to be working around the clock. But you know what? You can find people that are decent. I will say that.
Well, that's pretty great. And especially for her too. Like,
I would have brought her here with me if I could.
So some of these
my goal for CES 2025 is to head out for PepCom and Showstoppers. Okay. Trisha's goal for 2025 is to bring an on-site producer. So what is your doing for next year for CES, TK?
Honestly, I feel like I'm so behind where Trish is. I'd like to basically move up to the level where she has it. It's basically the whole
remote, the guy in the chair.
Well, I mean, no. So I do have a gentleman that's helping me out, and he's been a great help. But I guess it's more about fine tuning the process of how I'm creating the content. I realize that I think 4K is great for
while you're
full
not
videos
on the show floor.
Yeah, but I think I should really, for the reels and the short parts, I need to just drop down to 1080. Makes it much easier to transfer. And but it's also kind of like getting ready. The gentleman I'm working with right now, we've been working together, but it hasn't been that long. That relationship hasn't developed to that level. So
but by this time next year,
hey man,
oh yeah,
I'm planning already for like end of next month, man. I'm like, hopefully I'll be able to go to MWC. And the thing is, MWC is crazy for me because it is all mobile. Here, I'm picking, choosing. There's different things. There, it's still like, it's like a tunnel vision down an aisle of mobile, and companies that don't even exist in the US. So we'll have to see. Yeah, no, definitely. But I will definitely reach out to Trish later on, see maybe, it doesn't hurt having leveraging, especially
Jen,
content.
You say. Jen from
she's great. Chicago. She's fantastic. But you know what worked really well for me for this show, TK? Mm-hmm. I was doing 1080p 30, so it's easier to get those files uploaded even over super crummy CES internet. But also My game plan was put that wide angle lens on the DJI Osmo Pocket.
Yep.
Put it on the tripod so I can stand back a little ways and film it for YouTube with a wide angle and then crop it for the vertical.
Oh,
And
okay.
have all those clips so that tomorrow when I post my like best of CES,
you have both clips.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I have it in vertical.
You're not shooting you're not shooting different formats. You're shooting one crop. That is much better. You're right. Because that would have been my only challenge. I would have to shot the video twice. Because Osmo the 3 has the switcheroo, but it's better to do the other way. Okay.
That's what I did. The only bummer of it I found this year is because all my footage was on my Osmo, I wasn't posting stories all day.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't on my phone.
Yeah.
And I know you can transfer it to your phone, but I wasn't even going to attempt that at CES.
Yeah.
Wasn't even going to try.
You'd find it very interesting where your phone doesn't find your Osmo and it's like it's right next to it, but like you're being bombarded by all the different Wi-Fi things. No,
it just drives me crazy that like again the cranky old guy where I should just plug in a cable and that
and you can, but it just this
work
is for me this
so
year
much
I covered the
better.
entire show with the sling bag basically. I did not have my backpack where I typically do.
Mhm.
I would have my laptop with me. I can always run to the media room, but I really ran it very light, very concise. At that, I loved that. My back appreciated it, but I realized I was missing like that internet component, just kind of like head to head. So yeah, for sure, next year that's my goal. My goal is to be closer to her setup as much as possible and be more run and gun because it's more fun. And you're in the moment, you're still enjoying it.
So I need to bring a
stressed.
tripod, but I want to see like, could I just cover CES through Pepcom and Showstoppers just with a phone in my pocket?
So many
Not
people are
have
doing
a
that.
whole other
Dude,
backpack full of
So
gear.
I saw one guy covering it with an iPad, and if he can do it with the contraption that he was using on it,
Yeah, that's incorrect. I don't want to do that.
Well, here, wait.
Well-
Ron, hold on. You've seen my tripod that I'm obsessed with, right? Hold on.
No, I mean, is it the one that you brought to? Okay, yeah. I think it's the one that you brought to MediaTek.
it should be. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah, the same one I brought to MediaTek.
Yeah, I do like that a lot.
Because it's got the Bluetooth shutter and it extends all the way up to
Yeah.
60 inches if you want it to. And I can take off the phone thing and just use the threading for the Osmo Pocket. And it's tiny and it's light. And
Yeah, that's real pretty. I got TK over on some of like those carbon fiber Ulanzis, but those are more
Ulanzis are really
photography
Yeah.
style. But I might need to pick your brain on just streamlining even further. But we are getting to that point, just kind of wrapping up the show. And Trish, thanks for hanging out a little bit later with us because I know we don't want to keep you up too late. You got an early flight tomorrow. What else is coming? What else do you have to share with folks, and where can folks keep up with what you've already produced and what you're going to be putting out as we wrap up CES?
well, a lot of my coverage has gone up on YouTube Shorts and TikTok, which is hilarious because I love to be an old lady sitting on my porch, shaking my fist at the kids on my lawn about TikTok. But interestingly, this CES, my YouTube Shorts have not performed super well, and my TikTok has performed great.
Funny that.
Exact same content. So on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on all those, I'm that girl Trish with no I in the girl. So it's just that GRL Trish. And then on Twitch and YouTube, it's my name, Trisha Hershberger. So tomorrow I'm probably going to put up a long form, like my favorite, best and wackiest of CES video on my YouTube channel. And then this Sunday on Twitch, I'm probably just going to have a very chill conversation like the three of us are right now, talking about some of the things that I saw and what I'm hoping to see and that kind of stuff. So all the places.
Right on.
Trish has all the cool gear.
Always. Yeah. No.
When you do like 50 million Amazon live streams a week, you know what the options are.
My entire setup, by the way I have my studio set up here was because I used to do Amazon Live events, and I have my entire thing very organized. But again, it's at home. Never had to worry about doing it on when I'm traveling. But you seriously, like with the amount of stuff you were doing, I am in awe. But thank you very much again for at least sharing some of the knowledge, a little bit behind the curtain there, and understanding the magic that makes that Trish girl. And by the way, for everybody listening to us, the audio version of this podcast would definitely be coming up in the next day or so. There are some links in the description below, which I will actually add the additional ones. I only put your YouTube and X on there for Trish as well as for Juan. Make sure to check them out. And then, of course, way more stuff coming out. On my side, it's going to be pretty much just finishing up what I have right now, but also working on some cool content. I'll be going to Unpack next week, so hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys some exciting stuff from Samsung, and I should be able to start talking about some new tech that I got a chance to see this week, but I can't.
These things on my desk that I can't pick up and show you on camera just yet.
Remember that laptop I told you I wanted to show you? Well, it's on a phone that technically isn't out yet, so I can't show you the picture of the laptop.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's a TK problem. It's like 90% of our show. It's to come. But yeah, no, for sure. Juan, what else is going on for you this week other than
I just previewed on the Patreon my 1-year upgrade video for the Vivo X100 versus last year's X90. So you can kind of get a sense of what's improved, what's changed. And then, like I said, stuff on my desk that I can't show, but I just started doing all the testing on a new Shanling portable dongle DAC. This is the UA4, which is using a new ESS chip. A really, really solid performer for audiophile and for sort of a good affordable audiophile. And then this bad boy just came in. This is the GTAC super rugged Intel 12th gen military industrial grade laptop tablet convertible. And I love it. And I love it so much.
Really?
It's just a big, chunky,
rugged,
looks like
a camping
beefy
battery.
It does. I was making a joke last night to Marie. It's like RoboCop's lunch pail.
Exactly.
Like, it's so awesome. But I just have this fascination with ruggedized gear. And what they've put into constructing a convertible, the screen pops and swivels around where like you've got this beefy handle and then you pop this clip and you open the screen and you flip it all the way around, but you want the screen to lay flat. So the whole like latch mechanism on this, just to get it to like clip in place, and then you have this like handlebar to use your super beefy tablet with. I love it so much.
I'm so happy that you love it.
It's just such
when
a
it
monster.
works, man. Yeah, no, for sure.
It's so great. So there will be some content coming to my channel soon about just a completely ridiculously over the top dual battery cell, port covers on every single port, completely expandable, all these types of accessories and stuff. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be playing with it. It's got a cute little handle, so it's just great.
That's perfect. So make sure to check that out. Hopefully coming out very soon from Juan. Make sure to check out Trish on Twitch this weekend. Juan on YouTube on Monday for the SGGQA. And then, of course, as usual, we will see you guys next week for another episode of the Best of Our Week, talking about all the cool tech we couldn't talk about this week. That's a good one. I need to write that down. But yeah, take care, everybody. We'll see you very soon.